Welcome in, everybody, to the 423 Football Podcast. Today is our Week 7 recap show, and once again, the injury bug is going around the NFL. A lot of injuries going on, broken arms, broken hearts, if you will. But yeah, I'm your host, Brandon Bouchard, joined here by Brett Hamilton.
Hello.
Just the two of us today. I don't know how much more we'll be seeing of Peyton. He'll probably, I don't know, he's moving more towards like a guest on the show if he is. I mean, he's just got a lot going on with his job, so
yeah.
I mean, I guess
he might sneak in as a special guest later down the road.
Yeah, I guess a job is somewhat of an excuse.
Disagree.
Yeah, you're obviously here. Why can't Peyton show up?
I know.
But anyways, we have another beer selection for this show.
Yeah.
This time it is going to be Lagunitas from Lagunitas, which I love their IPA.
Yep. One of the best.
If I was a wealthier man, I'd probably drink it more religiously. But
rather than Milwaukee's best.
Yeah, hey, don't be bashing Milwaukee's best. But yeah, Lagunitas. We usually drink the IPA. I'm pretty sure that's their most popular, but this is the Little Something Ale.
Little Something.
Little Something Ale, 7.5%. So we're gonna get crunk on the show.
I don't think one will do it, but we'll see.
Yeah, you got to crack. Oh yeah, I've been sipping on mine. Brett's still got to crack his open. If you didn't hear that, is it good?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I really like Lagunitas. Is fantastic.
Yeah, I've never had anything bad from them, but yeah, I think that is the first non-IPA that I've had from Lagunitas. It's good.
Yeah. And just a disclaimer, once again, we are not taking money from any of these beers. We just like them, and they are delicious. So, especially, well, this one, not all are delicious, but this one in particular, delicious. So,
no.
Yeah, we'll be sipping on that throughout the show. All right, so we're going to jump in, just to go through what we're going to be talking about today. Got a bunch of news, as I mentioned earlier, got a bunch of injuries, got standouts and flops for this week, and stock ups and stock downs, and then waiver wire at the very end, which this coming week is going to be big for waiver wire because it's just the bipocalypse basically coming in. So,
yeah.
So,
a lot of people you're picking up and starting because you have to.
Yeah, but I guess to segue into that, obviously if you're going to add someone, you got to make room for them. So, players to drop. What are some players that are just, obviously they might have been big name players at the beginning of the year, you might have even drafted them pretty high and whatnot, but what's one or two players that you were pretty much done with and you are dropping at this point?
Amari Cooper.
Okay.
Just kidding. But I'm going to stick with the same team and go Marshawn Lynch. You know, I don't want to talk about this as one game suspension or whatever. He just hasn't been producing anyway.
We'll get into that here in a minute.
Yeah. I think it's time to cut ties with him. Martavis Bryant, unless you're holding out for a trade, which that situation's up in the air.
Yeah.
Martellus Bennett, not been producing, not even with Aaron Rodgers. There's no reason to believe that he's going to do any better with Brett Hundley.
Yeah, definitely agree. I'm glad you said Martellus Bennett because I forgot to list him on mine. But yeah, definitely. If you're holding on to a tight end like that,
he just hasn't been there this year.
I don't know with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and it's
Brett not going to get any better.
Definitely not an upgrade, so it would be unwise to upgrade his priority. He's not getting it done.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Terrell Pryor, I mentioned him past couple weeks. I think he's droppable at this point. Josh Doxson is clearly taken over that job, and Pryor he's not a receiver. I've been saying it. He's not a receiver.
No, he's not.
Randall Cobb, I think, is pretty much droppable at this point.
Yeah, I had him listed too. I was going to ask you what you thought about it. I got it wrong. I thought he would have a bigger role in the Brett Hundley offense. But I mean, that the pass catchers didn't do much this game.
That's
fantasy-wise, anyway, so it's hard to base it off one game.
I thought they were going to at least, because obviously if they're going to win games while Aaron's out and be competitive, Brett Hundley is going to have to throw the football. They relied heavily on the run game in this past game.
Yeah.
But if they want to win, Brett Hundley's going to have to start throwing the football, and I don't know why they didn't at least let him try.
Yeah.
As ugly as it might have been, you got to give him a chance to expand the offense.
It just didn't seem like they trusted him very much. He didn't have the game plan was very light. I think there wasn't a whole lot of complexities in it, and maybe if the Packers defense can finish the game like they started with 2 interceptions back to back.
Yeah,
that would have been. They were on pace for like 8 interceptions that game, so I was kind of surprised they didn't get that. But
yeah, but it's like you said, it was. They need to. I mean, they try to simplify the offense in the fact that
they have to.
Well, in the fact that they were running the ball more often than not. Yeah. But they have to simplify it for Brett Hundley in the passing game as well.
Yeah. You can't just cut that whole arm off.
Because they expected him to go out there and they were running the same routes and same plays that Aaron Rodgers could make. He's not Aaron Rodgers. No one is.
You're kidding.
He's Aaron. I'm Brett. That's it. But all right. Anyway, let's see. I guess I mentioned Terrell Pryor, Randall Cobb, Mike Gillislee. I'm pretty much done with.
Actually, I had him listed too.
Yeah.
We saw him. They put him in on that goal line rush. He couldn't punch down the goal line, and they took him out. If he doesn't have the goal line work, what's his role in the offense?
He doesn't have one.
He doesn't have one. That's his only role, and if he can't even do that, then there's no point in hanging on to him.
And there's 3 backs, honestly, I think, that are better than Gillislee. Maybe not just from a power and running back perspective, but are going to get a lot more work in that Patriots offense.
Yep.
All right, we're going to jump into the news. I had one last name, but I kind of segue into this into the news section.
Segui.
Little
Segui in this section.
All right, so first things first, Carson Palmer has a broken arm, will have surgery, out anywhere from 8 weeks till the entire season.
He's done this season, man.
Yeah,
I don't have any faith he's coming back this year.
I didn't really have much faith in Carson Palmer this year, but if you own any Cardinals players, you have got to be worried. Honestly, other than Larry Fitzgerald and Adrian Peterson, I'm dropping any Cardinals player I own.
Yeah.
It's pretty much too late to sell high on Adrian Peterson after that last week.
You can drop Jaron Brown for sure, because you're talking about like the 4th wide receiver on the team.
I'm dropping John too.
That's what I wouldn't want to start John. If you could trade him, package trade him away, I would do that. Just because of the name value, and everyone sees him as a number 2 wide receiver, which he is, but that offense is just going to be terrible. Adrian Peterson's still going to touch the ball at least 15 times a game. That's just.
I still don't think it's going to go anywhere because the line is terrible, and obviously they're not going to be able to throw the ball.
The line was. He had nowhere. He was pretty much running into his own linemen because they were just swarming the middle, and he couldn't do anything, which is unfortunate. But he's still going to get the touches. I'm still plugging him in, especially this week.
I think he's just a low-end flex play, honestly.
I don't know about that. Anyone who's touching the ball besides Isaiah Crowell that often, I think, has some value.
Honestly, I don't see Adrian Peterson doing much more than Crowell has been doing the past couple weeks.
Really?
I really don't. I think that offense is going to obviously. They've lost so many pieces. Obviously, David Johnson he's gone, but without Carson Palmer, Drew Stanton is not going to get anything done.
No.
Absolutely nothing done. I think Larry might be okay just because of the volume that he'll get.
Yeah,
but
I'm still worried about him though.
But I'm more confident in Larry than I am Adrian Peterson.
Oh yeah, well I'd say that too because Larry's been good all year. Besides 1 or 2 games.
But I at this point I think Adrian Peterson's outside the top 25 running backs. I think it's going to be ugly. So outside the top 25, that's low end flex in my opinion.
I think that's flex range. You're talking about
I do
top 30.
Yeah, it's flex range, but I think on top of all other wide receivers and stuff like that, and obviously I would say he'd be okay to roll out there this week, but no, he's on a bye.
Yeah.
So that's not going to work out. But anyway, moving on from that, definitely hurting the Cardinals at this point. Jay Cutler is going to be out 2 to 3 weeks with cracked ribs. Matt Moore is going to be the starter. I don't know what you think, but I think I think we've seen the last of Jay Cutler. I think it's over for him.
Yeah. If you're a Dolphins fan, you've got to be calling for Matt Moore. I mean, Jay Cutler's been actually actively painful to watch play football this year.
Yeah, I mean the past couple weeks they started getting things together, and Cutler started doing okay. But why
are you wasting your time with this guy? He signed him for 1 year.
I understand why they signed him in the first place, but now he's hurt. You saw what he could do, and now I think it's Matt Moore's job to go. And
I don't think Matt Moore can do any worse than they started. So
no, Matt Moore's not a bad quarterback. I think he's fine.
I mean, they came in and they still won that game.
Yeah, and I honestly, Matt Moore has a lot more. I think he adds value even to Jarvis Landry and Kenny Stills especially. He loves him some Kenny Stills.
Definitely going to talk about him in the waiver wire additions.
Yeah, Devontae Parker might be back this week. Don't really know. I guess I don't think Matt Moore and Devontae Parker have really had much time together at all.
Reps they've had.
Yeah, but I still think it's going to be that offense is going to run through J.J. obviously.
Oh yeah.
But I think Matt Moore is going to be fine, and I think
it'll be fine.
I think if they keep winning, I don't see Jay Cutler coming back.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is a 2 to 3 week injury. I think it probably goes a little bit longer than that, and then at some point they're just going to be like, Matt Moore's a starter. Jay Cutler is going to go join Tony Romo in the booth.
God, what a dynamic duo. You'd have, Tony Romo would be analyzing everything, just like forecasting plays, and Jay Cutler's just sitting back going,
I don't know.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
I don't know.
I don't even care.
All right. Delaney Walker suffered a right ankle sprain
that's a bummer.
In Sunday's game. He was seen on crutches after the game. However, they said it's not a high ankle sprain, it's a low ankle sprain, so
that's good.
Better than what it could have been.
Yeah.
So they're pretty optimistic on
that's good, especially in this tight end year with all the injuries that's plagued that position. That was one of the best ones that has consistently escaped the injury bug this year, but it's coming for everyone.
Yeah. It's a good thing they have a bye this week because they desperately need it with Mariota being injured, DeMarco Murray being injured, and now Delaney Walker being injured, and maybe Corey Davis possibly getting back this week. So, desperate bye week for the Titans.
Right.
All right, one more injury note. It's not really fantasy relevant so much, but Joe Thomas's streak of 10,000. 363 consecutive snaps comes to an end.
It's only because everyone started talking about it after he hit the 10,000 mark.
Yep.
No one even knew about it until he hit 10,000, and then all of this attention, it hexed him, man. It's so unfortunate.
Yeah, triceps injury. He's going to be done for the year.
As if the Browns' season couldn't get worse. This is atrocious.
Yeah, but I mean, just props to Joe Thomas. He's one of the best linemen.
Yeah, I mean
of our time.
That's probably one of the most impressive streaks I've ever seen in my lifetime.
What's more impressive, that streak or Brett Favre's consecutive game streak? Start streak, I should say.
Honestly, I'm probably gonna go Joe Thomas. I have never seen. Think about how many times you see linemen go out. Think about how many times they roll their ankles,
get stepped on,
get fingers in their eyes. I mean, that is just. I mean, we're talking consecutive snaps. That's just insane to me.
No, they're both very impressive.
But I'm not taking anything away from Brett Favre either.
Oh no. All right. Ezekiel Elliott will be allowed to play in Week 8.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just leave it at that?
Just leave it at that.
Because I don't know.
That's all we know at this point. I mean...
Yeah, we're just going to update you as it goes along. I'm not going to make any predictions.
No, there's no point in predicting it because no one knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm pretty much done making predictions there, even though I know what I want to happen and what should happen, but that's a whole different story. All right, as Brett alluded to before, Marshawn Lynch suspended 1 game. That is confirmed. They appealed. He did not get his appeal. So he will be suspended 1 game for touching a ref. Well, I shouldn't say touching, grabbing a ref by the shirt.
He went full WWE on the ref.
Yeah, and he came from the sideline. I do kind of...
Which is crazy. I mean, why would you ever do that?
I mean, there's a lot of controversy going on in this discussion of Marshawn Lynch, and I just don't see I don't see what the argument is like for Marshawn Lynch not to get suspended.
No.
I
mean, you know the rules. You know you can't touch a ref. I mean, that's just everyone knows that. You can't come from the sideline.
It's that especially.
Yeah, I mean,
but the argument like, oh, Marcus, he was protecting his cousin or his brother, Marcus Peters.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, who cares? I don't. That doesn't affect anything of what he did. Just because I don't care if
he was going out there to protect Derek Carr. I mean, it's the same thing.
I don't care if the ref tackled Marcus Peters on the ground.
Yeah.
Marshawn Lynch doesn't have a right to go over there and do anything, especially from the sidelines.
That was the craziest part, is he actually sprinted from the sideline and joined the fight, which is just ridiculous.
Yeah, and Marshawn's argument, one of his arguments was, in the past, like Taylor Lewan last year and Aaron Donald last year touched a ref. They were ejected, but they weren't suspended. But that's not really a good argument either.
They didn't come from the sideline.
Well, either way, like just because they didn't do it in the past doesn't mean we shouldn't do it now.
Right.
But
yeah.
The only thing I will say, if like this happened, if this is a point, like obviously Marshawn got suspended, if another player or another incident like this happens in the future and they don't get suspended, then I understand the case. Because the NFL doesn't have a problem with inconsistency.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that's a more than likely outcome to happen later this season, because we've seen it time and time again. The NFL they can't stay consistent on what they're calling and how they're punishing. It just seems like they just kind of go with whatever they feel on that day. Yeah. And so that would be a huge issue down the road if that happens, which in all likelihood probably will.
Yeah. So I guess we're going to be without Marshawn this week. We'll get into the implications of that.
But he was droppable, in my opinion. Anyway.
Well, yeah, he was underperforming drastically.
Yeah.
All right. Moving into the standouts from Week 7. Going to kick it off with the QB position. Who you got as your standout at QB, Brett?
I'm going to go Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz.
Man, that game was really fun to watch. And to hear John Gruden talk about Carson Wentz is just amazing every time. This game, it was Carson Wentz is North Dakota tough. He said that multiple times. Yeah. So
he's a man's man.
He's a man's man, which I completely agree with that. I mean, you saw him take that shot and then drop that bomb to Hollins. That was just perfect.
Beautiful.
I mean,
longest pass in the air this season.
Really?
Yeah.
I knew. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I didn't know that. That was pretty
Wentz
impressive.
as an arm.
It was a rocket, and it couldn't have been placed any better. Great throw and great catch. But yeah, 17 for 25 with 268 yards, 4 touchdowns, plus 63 yards rushing, which is really good for fantasy.
Yeah. One in particular where he was
Harry Houdini'd.
He was sacked. I honestly think the box score probably said it was a sack.
Yep.
And then he rushes out.
Somehow he got yards. He disappeared and then he reappeared running. It was incredible.
Dude, people have been all on the I think Carson Wentz is the future of this league, and
he is.
A lot of people point out
incredible.
A lot of people point out like Dak as like the most more exciting player, or one of the more exciting QBs in the league, or Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah.
But I think Carson Wentz.
I'd take Carson Wentz over both of those. I really like Dak this year.
There's honestly, if there was the scenario of which QBs you would like to start or most like to start a franchise with today, Carson Wentz would easily be in the top 5 of my list.
He has such a mind for the game, and he just takes control. And you see him on the sideline. He's involved in the play calling. He knows exactly what's going on. They have the best. I think they have the best red zone offense in the league right now. And I think every time that they've gotten inside the 5-yard line this year, they've scored a touchdown. That's just incredible. I mean, you saw that one to Zach Ertz where he just pushed the defender to the ground after he was trying to. That was awesome.
Wentz definitely does have weapons now, and his offensive line is fantastic. But I mean, Dak has the same things.
Yeah. You can say the same thing about both.
But I
like Wentz a lot.
I don't know. I think when I see Carson Wentz, I see Aaron Rodgers, except Carson Wentz actually gets to start his career as a rookie. And,
right, he's not shadowed by.
But he can run the ball just fine.
Yeah.
He's strong. He's got an incredible mind for the game, which that's pretty. You can't teach that a lot of the times.
No, not this young.
The arm strength, obviously, and arm talent isn't Aaron Rodgers level. I'm not saying the guy is Aaron Rodgers, but I see similarities.
Yeah, and the way they play.
And it's his second year. It's his second year out of North Dakota State.
And he's North Dakota tough.
Yeah, exactly. So,
who do you have as your QB standout?
Yeah, I'm going with Derek Carr this week. We've been seeing him just play horribly the past couple weeks, but finally gets on track here. 30-point performance. I don't really trust Derek Carr that much going forward, but I think he's got a tough matchup this next week against the Bills.
They just have a tough schedule in general, I think.
Yeah, they do have some tough matchups. But hopefully, if Amari keeps doing what he's doing, and Crabtree I think is fine. Obviously, no Marshawn, but I think...
That doesn't matter.
I really don't think it matters. I think
you're not going to get any less production out of DeAndre Washington and... who's the other one? Jalen Richard. Yeah, you're not going to see any less production out of those two, even if it's a committee.
Yeah. All right, God, we are going slow today.
Well, it's that North Dakota tough Carson Wentz. He just gets us fired up.
All right, who's the standout? Oh, God, I got me choked up. All right, who you got at running back standouts?
Darren Sproles 2.0, also known as Alvin Kamara. Just 9 for 57, 5 catches, 50 yards. He's in my mind, he's an easy RB2 in PPR leagues at this point. I mean, just week in, week out. Mark Ingram's obviously doing his thing. He's doing great. But even with that type of production, they can still sustain a guy like Kamara because every time he gets the ball, he makes something happen.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing that stands out to me.
They're trying to get him the ball.
And yes, they are. We've thrown shade on Sean Payton for not liking running backs.
No, he just hates Mark Ingram, and it pisses me off because Mark Ingram is a fantastic running back.
Maybe we need to adjust that. Well, now he hated Adrian Peterson too, but that was a whole different thing. So maybe it is just a Mark Ingram.
He just hates Mark Ingram.
It's just a Mark Ingram.
Whatever. I'm not going to dabble in that.
Yeah. Well, how about you for your standout at the running back position?
I mean, we have to mention Ezekiel Elliott. 40 points.
I don't think we have to.
We have to. 40-point game. Again,
no, he dominated.
Yeah, the Cowboys finally woke up and started playing heavy and fast and just powerful from the start. They used Zeke to the fullest.
How we expected them to play from week one.
Yeah, which, granted, I kind of... one is the 49ers. Yeah. So, temper expectations. They're winless so far.
Yeah, that's true.
Cowboys still, I think, have some glaring problems. I still don't think they're going to... I still don't see them making the playoffs, honestly.
That'd be tough. It's a tough run for them.
Yeah, I see the Eagles just crushing them.
I think... Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, we have to give it up for Zeke in this game.
It was his day, man. I mean, they couldn't do anything to stop him.
He was playing like he was about to get suspended. Playing like it's his last game for the season. Obviously,
he's trying to pack all of his fantasy points into one game.
Yeah, this week and next week, he might have 80 points combined within the 2 weeks. But yeah, moving into wide receivers, I got Julio Jones as my standout of the week. 9 of 13 targets, 99 yards, and a touchdown. I don't know. It honestly could have been better. He had
that's true.
He had a few targets that were kind of, I don't know. Matt Ryan just looks terrible. But aside from that,
I think the play calling looks terrible.
They finally targeted him in the end zone.
And what happened?
And he
made the defender look like a little kid.
He manhandled Malcolm Butler.
If you have not seen that play, please go watch a replay. Oh my gosh, it is so fun to watch. I mean, he just literally takes it away. I mean, it was a clear interception. And half the wide receivers in this league would have just given it away. But he just rips it out of his hand and says, no, this is a touchdown.
Rip is an understatement. He basically had the ball and just threw Malcolm Butler aside.
He did. Well, yeah, that's just Malcolm
Butler. I still don't think Malcolm Butler's a very good defender. No. But it's good to finally see. It was a fade route, like we've been saying the past couple weeks. They must have listened to the podcast.
They must have.
Thank you, Dan Quinn. Even though your play calling and Steve Sarkisian's.
Yeah, that's not Dan Quinn.
Yeah, Steve Sarkisian's play calling is
atrocious.
It's
awful. It is terrible. But that's beside the point. Yeah. We'll get into that probably in our probably in our preview episode.
Yeah. Who do you got at wide receiver standout?
Doug Baldwin finally rebounding and giving fantasy owners what they invested in. He had 12 targets. He caught 9 of them for 92 yards and a touchdown. Exactly what you want out of Doug Baldwin. He's been pretty up and down these past opening games, and it's just hasn't been rewarding players with what they want. But he really stood out in this game.
Yeah, I'm really liking the Seahawks moving forward. They're finally getting things going. Even though the line's still not that great, but Doug Baldwin, Russell Wilson, and really a few other receivers, which we'll mention later. I'm liking them moving forward. We're like I said, we're kind of going long here. We're going to go long here today. But I'll just go through, let's see, 3 tight end standouts I had from this week. I think you were going to mention Jordan Reed, had 2 touchdowns in this game. Finally saw him back. Honestly, if Jordan Reed's on the field and healthy, I think he's the best tight end in the league. I wouldn't say that. Gronk's still the best tight end, but I think Jordan Reed can easily put up the production that Gronk does as long as he stays on the field. So if Reed's out there, roll him out there.
Assuming both stay healthy, rest of season, Jordan Reed or Zach Ertz?
Jordan Reed, without a doubt.
Really?
I'd take Jordan Reed over Gronk if I knew if they were going to be healthy.
Oh, all right.
Fair enough. I had before the injury, all the injury stuff at the beginning of the year.
That's the thing about him; he can't stay healthy.
Yeah, I mean, hardly any tight end can. I mean, I love Zach Ertz and I love Gronk's ability, but Jordan Reed, if he's just as long as he stays healthy, I think he's easily one of the best. Also got to mention Evan Ingram, still not dominating, but still showing that he's a top 5 tight end.
He's a wide receiver.
Yeah, God, he's so fast. He can. I've never seen a tight end run away from defensive backs like he can.
He can leave him in the dust. It's incredible.
Yeah, and then one more, O.J. Howard, 98 yards and 2 touchdowns. This is, I guess, his second
that was play design for him.
Yeah, well, one, he was just wide open again. It was the same exact play from a few weeks ago, just wide open.
I don't know what that play is. It may be it's I don't know, Tampa 2 wide banana-esque. I don't know what it is, but that play's good.
Yeah. I still like Cameron Braid a little bit more. I think he's more reliable.
Going forward, he is the safer option.
But O.J. Howard is so talented.
I think they're going to get more and more work out of him. They're just finding ways to work him into that offense because he's such a good pass blocker, but he can also catch. And Cameron Brate is not really a pass blocker, so every time he's on the field, he runs routes. So it's really tough. But they do run a lot of 2 tight end sets. We have to mention Jason Witten's one-handed touchdown grab.
It was nice.
While stiff-arming the defender, just bringing it in and just securing it one-handed, it was amazing.
Dude, he's the guy. I
have no idea how he's still catching touchdowns, but it's incredible.
It's catches like that. I see him obviously, we see Odell making his crazy one-handed catches, which it's crazy talented. But Jason Witten's that one-handed catch. I just want people to realize it's more it's not so much the ability in that. It's just the mental game. It's basically he's boxing the guy out. Yeah. He knows where he needs to be. He's keeping his arm back basically as a guard from the defender's reach, and then it's just one hand catch. It's just more of it's just concentration and a mental focus there.
It's just veteran tight end play.
I love seeing stuff like that. I love seeing the mental side of the game even more than the physical side a lot of the times. All right, moving into the flops of the week. We'll go through these fast. We won't unless there's something really important you need to discuss. But which I guess
we're going to start off with something. I'm sure.
I got my quarterback flop of the week. I just got to mention. This is the only one I'll dabble into. Cam Newton, 3 turnovers in this game. He is the epitome of a streaky player.
Yeah,
I've never seen one game he'll look if everything's going right for him from the start, then
he's just as confident as all get out.
Yeah, he's confident, cocky, arrogant,
whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I do not like Cam Newton as a person or a player really. Yeah. Never have. But yeah, 3 turnovers in this game, and it started bad early. He becomes lazy. Yeah. He becomes careless. He becomes stubborn. He's not coachable when he gets in a bratty mood.
If you ever see him on the sideline, it's just like he just shuts down. He just shuts everything out. And it's just over once he makes a mistake or once his team makes a mistake.
I've never seen I've never seen someone so bipolar and it's just up and down. He lets things get to him. I see college quarterbacks right now with more composure than Cam Newton.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's
yeah. I completely agree. This is the second game this year he's put up single-digit fantasy points. So I mean, that's hard to rely on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he can go out there and do perfectly fine things, but obviously his MVP year when they went to the Super Bowl. Dominated throughout the entire year, gets to the Super Bowl, and we see this lazy, careless, stubborn attitude, bratty attitude.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
He's not leading that team whatsoever. It's all just selfishness. I've had enough of Cam Newton. Yeah. I think the league has had enough of Cam Newton. Honestly, I agree. And if he keeps taking hits like he is.
They're letting him run now. I don't know what that's all about. I don't know what changed there.
I thought they were going to protect him more. If they keep doing this again, if they get back into this, I don't see Cam even playing another 5 years.
He's just going to get hurt. I mean, I don't know what his problem is.
All right, that's my small rant on the flops. So we'll go through these quickly. Who's your quarterback?
Marcus Mariota. Extremely favorable matchup against the Browns. I mean, we're starting almost any quarterback against the Browns. Blake Bortles would be a fine start against the Browns, but he comes up 0 touchdowns. He had 203 yards, but this game went into overtime too. It's like fantasy heaven, and he's still disappointed. I don't know what the problem is.
I just think he's still injured, but
that's probably it.
Hopefully the bye week will help with that. Moving into running backs, who you got as a running back flop?
Melvin Gordon. This is his first game where he just really surprised everyone. Just didn't do well in a game that they won 21-0. He did poor, and that's like, I mean, he should have had a monster game just based on those numbers. But he was 18 for 38 with no touchdowns. I mean, that's just poor.
Yeah, that Broncos defense is really it's the real deal.
It is against the Broncos, but as far as fantasy production, this is not what you need out of Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna mention a few. C.J. Anderson, another poor performance in this game. Right. They just can't do anything as long as Trevor Siemian's not doing anything.
No.
As much as I'd like to see them run the ball more often. They got down in this game earlier.
And he can't. Yeah.
But they have to establish a run if they want to win the game. Also want to mention Jerick McKinnon. I should have mentioned Latavius Murray and the standouts because
he deserved to stand out.
The McKinnon
we had all written him off, including me. He was riding my bench this week.
That's
which I thought was a fair move.
It was. And Latavius Murray there was no signs of him.
I mean, people dropped him before this week. I mean, I at least held on to him.
Well, heck, I traded Jerick McKinnon for Russell Wilson, and that was last week. Everyone thought I was crazy. This week, it's just like, well, that makes sense. And then I want to mention, we mentioned Adrian Peterson earlier, but we won't go into that again. And Derrick Henry. Only 13 yards on 13 carries. It's DeMarco's job still until Derrick Henry gets like the complete workload or DeMarco gets hurt. Obviously, that's probably going to be how Derrick Henry gets a complete workload.
Probably.
I'm still sticking as DeMarco being the lead guy.
Yeah.
However, I don't really like either of them going forward if they both stay healthy.
It's too hard. I mean, one's up and one's down. It's just week to week. It's hard to predict.
All right, wide receiver flops. Who's one guy at your wide receiver position?
AJ Green. I was going to mention Larry Fitzgerald, but Carson Palmer was out, so that's not really.
I told you guys. I said, is there any worry about the Steelers defense and Joe Hayden? And there clearly was.
Yeah. AJ Green, 3 for 41 on 5. He was only targeted 5 times. The Steelers, their defensive game plan, obviously, was to just shut down AJ Green. I mean, you saw he had nothing. He was never open.
Joe Hayden,
it's not because AJ Green's bad at football. He's still great. He's still a great wide receiver going forward. But that defense was just unstoppable.
Yeah, I said Joe Hayden. I'll give you another name, Andy Dalton. That's a problem.
Yeah, that is.
Andy Dalton is.
He's not. He's not good.
He's not. He really isn't. I wish A.J. McCarron obviously I'm a homer being an Alabama fan.
Oh, golly.
But
I'm surprised you didn't talk about T.J. Yeldon.
But I could have. But
I was expecting it.
At least give A.J. a chance. Andy
Yeah.
Dalton isn't getting you anywhere. I think Marvin Lewis, I think he's an okay coach, and I think he's been a good coach, but he's talking about stubbornness.
Yeah.
This guy has no, it's just obviously he won't give Joe Mixon the workload he deserves and needs.
Yeah.
Andy Dalton seems to be his poster child for losses at this point.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I don't know what the problem is there.
Yeah. I'm gonna mention. Let's see. Alshon Jeffrey, only 3 points in this game. I thought he was going to have a great week with no Josh Norman being in there.
Yeah.
Obviously, pretty much everyone on the Eagles had a pretty good week, aside from Alshon Jeffrey.
That's true,
So,
yeah.
a bit odd there. And the Packers wide receivers, just all of them, I think, I think it was combined 5 catches total between Jordy, Devontae, and Randall Cobb.
Well, I mean, anytime your starting QB has less than 100 passing yards...
Yeah.
What can you... I mean, 0 passing touchdowns. I mean, what can you expect out of wide receivers?
Yeah. All right. Moving into our stock ups and stock downs. Give me 2 guys at each. Stock up and stock down.
Stock up, Aaron Jones. Ty is still not 100%, I don't think. But Aaron he's looked like the better running back. I mean, do you agree with that, being a resident Packer fan?
I think Aaron Jones is definitely dethroned Ty Montgomery, especially... Yeah. With Aaron Rodgers. Once Aaron Rodgers went down, it's basically clean slate. Let's see what the best players are going to...
And Aaron Jones has emerged. I mean, I think he out-snapped Ty Montgomery 44-7 or something like that.
I swear, he looks like Kareem Hunt when he runs. I'm not comparing the two, but
I know,
I'm kind of comparing the two.
No, well, I'm going to go into my next one before we get off into another rant.
Yeah, please do.
Tyrod Taylor, stock up. I mean, he, as painful as this one is to talk about, 20 for 33, 268 yards and a touchdown, 53 rushing yards. He can just make things happen. I mean, he can extend plays. It's really hard for defenses to cover wide receivers for as long as he can extend plays. And then if not, he'll just run. He picked up I think it was 4 third down conversions just by running it, just by scrambling out and just picking it up with his feet, which is awful if you like the team that they're playing, but it's just skill. I mean, he's done really well, and I think he deserves to be played every week.
Yeah, he's definitely become one of them,
especially with the rushing, the way rushing yards work for QBs.
Yeah, I've been saying he's one of the most underrated players in fantasy the past couple of years. He's a very, very capable fantasy QB.
Oh yeah,
because of his rushing.
Yeah.
He literally has no one to throw to. I will say that.
That's true.
But he can run the ball.
I mean, literally nobody.
Yeah, Deontay Thompson is the guy.
And that's sad.
Yeah. One guy my stock is rising on, Josh Doxson. Obviously, we talked about Terrell Pryor earlier. Said he's pretty much droppable. I think he didn't have. Terrell Pryor didn't even have a snap. He wasn't even on the field for the first 3 drives in that game. Josh Doxson is going to be the wide receiver X for that offense.
They drafted him that way.
Yeah,
that's what they wanted.
Yeah, and I think he's very, very capable of doing so.
Personally, I think it's the same situation with Corey Davis, except Corey Davis has been hurt.
That's a good comp. I like that. Stock downs, as I mentioned before, DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry. I'm lowering myself on. All Cardinals players dropping in the rankings.
All get downgraded.
Yeah, and T.Y. Hilton. Obviously, I don't think Andrew Luck's going to play this year at all. No, so I'm very, very down on T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, which is painful because he's such a great wide receiver. But I mean, on that offense, he just can't get anything. He can't get anything going.
Yeah. All right, we're going to move into the waiver wire section, and this, I wrote down 30 names for this, honestly, because week 8, we got 6 teams on bye. It's going to be a mess, so we're going to have a lot of people being added and dropped. So, Brett, you give me a few names you're mostly targeting, and I'll just start rambling.
I'll say Kenny Stills with Matt Moore throwing to him. Just one point I'd like to throw out there is Kenny Stills has scored a touchdown in every game that Matt Moore has started, which has only been 3 last year and 1 this year. But he has scored at least 1 touchdown in every game.
Does that count the playoff game from last year?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like that a lot.
And Deion Lewis, Juju Smith-Schuster, DeAndre Washington, Kenny Galladay. Those are probably my top 5.
All right, yeah. I like the Galladay pick. I hope that works out. I think who Lions play the Steelers, so that might be a little tougher of a matchup.
It's tough this year. I mean, it's tough this week, and that's more of a maybe a spot start because once Golden Tate comes back, I don't think playing Kenny Galladay. That's if you need a win this week.
Yeah. You mentioned DeAndre Washington. I also want to mention Jalen Richard. I think they're going to be splitting carries pretty regularly. Granted, they're going to be playing Buffalo this week.
Honestly, it's a coin flip. DeAndre Washington or Jalen Richard, just pick your poison. Yeah. I mean, whatever. I think DeAndre Washington looks a little better in my opinion.
I think Washington's safer. I think Richard's definitely got the big playability.
Yeah, that's true.
Wendell Smallwood, if he's still out there, definitely a good ad. Latavius Murray, obviously, a lot of people dropped him.
A lot of people dropped him going in this week, thinking Jarrett McKinnon had won the job completely.
Yeah, Josh Doxson, as we were alluding to before, like him moving forward, just in general.
Yeah.
Some Seahawks wide receivers. Like I said, Russell Wilson's going to be. I think the Seahawks are ready to go, and they're in midseason form at this point. I like Paul Richardson and Tyler Lockett. O.J. Howard, I guess you can, if you're desperate at tight ends. I don't expect this every week. It's going to be up and down.
I still think it's Cameron Brate, but
yeah, and Evan Ingram, he might still be out there in some leagues.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm just gonna. I listed like 10 wide receivers because obviously the buys are coming up.
We need some wide receivers.
So I'm just gonna go through names. You stop me if there's one you really like or one you're just like eh. But I want to say Nelson Aguilar. If he's still out there,
probably
go grab him. Yeah. And Marvin Jones, obviously coming off the bye, he could have been dropped. I like the Jets wide receivers. I've been high on Robbie Anderson all year.
Yeah.
They're finally getting something going. Jermaine Kearse has looked pretty good all year. Mohamed Sanu got a ton of work last week.
He did.
I like him moving forward. Ted Ginn, I don't expect that to last as much.
Yeah, I don't. That was tough to call.
Yeah, especially...
Is this 2 games in a row now?
This is 3 games in a row.
Well, 3 games, really,
He's caught, 15 targets in a row.
Yeah.
His catch rate is 100% over the past 3 weeks, which is really weird for Ted Ginn.
Stupid.
And also, mentioned Travis Benjamin. He could be a good flyer. Boomer bust play. Deontay Thompson, as I mentioned before, for the Bills. Tyrod Taylor's got to throw the ball to somebody. So
he's throwing passes, and they got to go somewhere.
Deontay Thompson was signed 3 days before that game, and he led the team in
crazy
in catches.
Yeah, which there's only upside, right?
Yeah. If you're looking at a QB stream, I think Josh McCown again is very viable. Yeah. Matt Moore, I think he's a good ad for this week, especially since Cutler's going to be out for a while. He might be okay. He might even be serviceable in the future.
Yeah.
2 more names. I don't think they've been on really anyone's radar the past couple weeks because they've been injured. They've been on IR. But Greg Olsen.
Yeah. It may be time to add him.
He might be back at practice next week.
Yep.
So if you're looking at a tight end, I know a lot of people dropped Greg Olsen.
Yeah.
So
if you're one of the top teams in your league and you've got a free spot on the bench or some guy that you've wanted to drop, but there's no one you're really convinced to service long term, look for Greg Olsen. Just why not stash him?
Yeah, and both of these guys I'm about to mention.
He's probably going to be coming back around the playoff times. If you can get a potential top 5 tight end for your playoff run, why not?
Oh yeah, that's fantastic. Granted, it might be a little tough. You might have to wait a week because this week's going to be tough with the buys.
Yeah, that's true.
But if you can swing it, it's definitely worth adding. And D.D. Westbrook, we haven't really seen him. We haven't seen him in the regular season.
No.
We saw him in preseason. He looked fantastic. We saw what he could do in college at Oklahoma. looked fantastic there.
Boomer Sooner.
But D.D. Westbrook, I don't think Marquise Lee is that talented of a receiver. He's been doing okay with Blake Bortles in the Jags offense.
He's been the number one wide receiver on that team.
Yeah,
but that's not saying a whole much on the Jaguars.
Yeah, and Alan Hearns is just a guy.
I don't like him at all.
Again, it's still, if Fournette's out there, it's going to run through him. But I still think D.D. Westbrook is the most talented wide receiver for the Jags.
Yeah.
And we might get to see him. So if you're looking for a flyer,
it's a good speculation.
I definitely like D.D. Westbrook.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to mention before we close out I mentioned waiver wire ads. Juju Smith-Schuster with the whole Martavis Bryant thing. If Martavis goes, he's going to be probably the clear number 2 in my mind. But I just read today that he's in the concussion protocol.
Juju, yeah.
Yeah, which no one expected because he was fine all through the game. He did his post-game interviews, and then I think they said like Monday and Tuesday morning he was experiencing symptoms of a concussion, so they put him in the concussion protocol. And so now he's listed as questionable. So if you're thinking about wide receivers to spot start this week, maybe not go with Juju. Maybe go with a safer pick.
He probably slipped in the shower and hit his head.
He probably, he probably slipped on the soap.
I just kind of thought of this. Obviously, where we talked about dropping Martavis Bryant and we thought about dropping Terrell Pryor.
Yeah.
Obviously, Josh Doxson has become one of the big waiver wire acquisitions. Juju Smith-Schuster now one of the big waiver wire acquisitions. Who do you like more going forward?
Between Juju and Josh Doxson?
Yes.
I like Josh Doxson.
I agree.
The Steelers, they're not when you think about Juju Smith-Schuster, even if Martavis goes and Juju goes into that wide receiver 2 role, which I expect he will, you're still talking touches behind Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell. I mean, you have to factor that in. I mean, just because he's the wide receiver 2 doesn't mean he's getting wide receiver 2 targets because, I mean, that offense runs through Le'Veon and Antonio Brown. And so you have to temper expectations, whereas Josh Doxson, he could be the clear wide receiver 1 for Kirk Cousins, who likes to sling his guns every now and then.
Yeah, I like that take. And again, Eli Rogers, I want to mention for the Steelers. I think he could be back, and Big Ben seems to like him a lot. Juju, I do like going down the.
They've shown he's caught touchdowns in his past few games, and that speaks volumes for Big Ben trusting him to get those red zone targets and come down with the touchdown grabs.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see all that play out. All right, so we went very long today on this show. Usually this is our shorter show.
Yeah,
but that's gonna be all for today. Before I close it out, this has been by far my favorite beer of this show so far.
Well, Vikings blood.
Well, that's not a beer. That's a category of its own. That's like the Holy Grail.
That was me, but that was really good. But yeah, this is probably the best one that I've had on the show.
Yeah, Lagunitas Little Something.
Yeah.
It's got an Irish girl,
If you didn't know Lagunitas made anything other than an IPA like I did.
Would you say that's an Irish woman on the bottle?
I would say... Did you just say that because she's wearing green?
Pretty much. She's
so stereotypical.
she's wearing green. She's got dark black hair. She's posing provocative. She looks like she's about to start river dancing.
Oh my gosh! No. Just because she's wearing all green, no.
I don't
not
know.
Irish, not Irish.
Anyway, before we start going down a path we don't want to, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at the 423 Football. We'll have our waiver wire ads up in the next 24 hours. Like us on Facebook, subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, and YouTube. Give us a like and leave your comments and reviews. We'll be back again tomorrow with our Week 8 preview show. Obviously, the Bipocalypse is coming. Hopefully, we'll have another beer on that show, which we will be recording within the next 5 minutes. Obviously, you won't be listening back-to-back, but yeah. Anyway, thanks for listening. We are the 423 Football Podcast.
Peace out.